Hello, and welcome to the Chronic Lyme Recovery Show. I'm so excited to have you here today because we have a special program. We have an interview with Kimee Massie from Holistically on the Mend. And she's going to be talking about all sorts of really interesting things. And I have a few of them jotted down here: iridology, pH testing, emotion code, energy exhaustion, traditional Chinese medicine, and more, and how that can help you in your recovery efforts for Lyme disease and helping you stop your suffering. So let's get prepared for a moment here with getting grounded and centered. So wherever you are, go ahead and bring yourself upright. We're going to place our right hand on the left hand on the bottom, right hand on the top, and the thumbs are going to touch, and that just rests in your lap today, working into our mind. Go ahead and let your eyes close. Bring your focus to your breathing and be aware of how you feel today. How is your body? How are your emotions? What are your thoughts? Take a moment just to be aware without self-criticism or judgments or expectations. Feel your breath moving in your body. And now we're going to add in a breath technique. So follow when you are ready. All the breath is in and out the nose. We're going to take a nice big inhale through the nose and then a big exhale out the nose. So you inhale like a big bellows and you exhale, squeezing the belly in. So you take a big inhale and that full exhale, and the inhale and the exhale and the inhale and the exhale and the in breath and the out breath, and continue onward, cleansing and revitalizing and clearing the cells and the energy body, bringing in circulation with the in breath and the out breath and the in breath and the out breath and the in breath and the out breath. And now go ahead and take your in breath and retain that breath for just a moment. Softly hold it. Feel its energy. And then exhale on out. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to bring Kimee on, and we're going to get ready for our program. So here we have Kimee. Hello, Kimee. How are you
Hello.
doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I am terrific. And we might as well start by telling everybody we're friends, right?
We are, yes.
And we've known each other for quite a while, I guess. I don't actually remember how we started, but you can fill them in on all that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So Kimee's here to talk about her services and what she does and her interests and her love for and her passion for natural health and healing methods. And go ahead, Kimee, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your background is and how you got here to this point of having holistically on the mend.
Okay. Well, um, first I was a graphic designer for many years, and overlapping that, I became a yoga instructor, became a mom, got really into yoga. I'm a 200-hour RYT instructor, been teaching over 10 years. I also have special certifications in trauma and addiction and recovery. And yeah, I've taken some of those trainings with you actually. And then, fast forward a number of years, and I had a bunch of different health issues, hypermobility. Doctors couldn't explain what was going on with me, they couldn't fix me basically. And so I was seeking out my own answers. And even food wise, I was always into nutrition, trying to, my son, who was almost 17, I tried to sneak as much healthy food into his diet as I possibly could because he's a picky kid. So, I mean, I've just been doing all this kind of stuff for years and years. So I thought, well, I might as well go this. And so people can maybe take me more seriously. And so I'm now a graduate from Trinity, Trinity Health, and I became a holistic practitioner. And so I've been working with a few clients here and there out in the field, and I've been getting some good results so far with everyone that I've worked with. And
Awesome.
yeah, so that's kind of how it all started and where I'm at today. And if you wanted to find me, you can go to my website. It's kimeemassie.com.
Yeah,
Handle on all the social media is Holistically on the Mend.
there you go.
And then, there's a bunch of different things that I offer people. The first step, though, is I get an intake form from everyone, because that basically gives me a background of where people are, maybe a little bit of their history, even health issues maybe their family members have had.
Mhm.
It tells me how they're eating, how they move, if they move, things like that. So it's very important, pertinent information that I need. And so once I get the, once I get the intake form, then I will set up an initial session. And that's where I can get photos from them, which pertain to iridology. So I would get a photo of their eye. I would get photos of their nails, traditional
Oh,
Chinese
interesting.
medicine, photos
Yeah.
of their tongue and of their face, because all of those things I basically triangulate, and I can also do pH testing and balancing. So that has to do with collecting just a small sample. It's invasive of your urine and your spit, and I put a little pH strip in there, and it tells me where you are, both upper digestion and lower digestion. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yes, triangulating all these things, because I'd never diagnose. That's not what I do, but I do get to the root issue of what's
Yeah,
happening.
and that's one thing I will pop in here. We're not doctors, and, we're not giving out medical advice or anything like that, or telling you to stop your medications or,
Hmm.
stop going to your doctor. So I wanna make sure that's clear, but we're just offering some other ideas, for you to think about and look into. And, okay, well, Kimmy, you have some things you wanted to go over here. So, where do you want to start in your slides here that you have?
Well, I guess so. I'm currently offering a sale, and we can get more in detail, I guess, with that towards the end. But I do have
Hmm.
different packages available on my site. So, well, first, let me mention just different things that I do, and then we'll go over the
Okay,
packages so you'll have an idea
specific.
beforehand. So,
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead. Take it.
so I can do, like I said, some traditional Chinese medicine stuff. Reading the face. There's body maps on people's, on our ears, on our face, on our tongue, on our
Oh,
feet.
that's
All
interesting. It's kind of
yeah,
like our yoga body maps in a
y-
way, huh? That we
yeah.
did a long time ago. Yeah.
So, I mean, all of this is connected, your organs and your tissues and all that kind of stuff all correlates. It's all mapped out. And so, it's funny because a lot of times I could look at someone and I'll see maybe forehead lines, and I can ask them, "Oh, do you have trouble with digestion?" And they're like, "How did you know?" So,
Yeah.
just little things.
I'll hide those.
We won't look at yours right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that can tell me a number of things. Um, I also work on people's emotional health. So a lot of times we can have aches and pains and say we've been to the doctor, different specialists, and we
Yeah.
still have these aches and pains. The medications aren't working,
And that's
different
a big
remedies.
one with Lyme disease too.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
So a lot of times when you've tried every route and it's not getting better, it can be an emotional issue because, like we would say in yoga, issues in your tissues.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you
that's
learn to
where
release those and let them
I heard
go.
people. Yeah.
Yep. So,
Mhm.
there's ways with movement through yoga. You know that yoga therapy. There's ways to help with emotions through aromatherapy, through Bach flowers, which is another thing that I use. So if you're not familiar with those, that was something created by Dr. Bach, and he found that the same frequencies in different flowers match up to the same frequencies that we have as emotions. So there's 38 different flowers basically, and I did purchase the whole kit so I can make my own customized for every person. But
Wow.
basically, I would say there's four of them that come to mind after I've talked to you and gathered information. I don't necessarily ask questions for that part. I just listen to you, and there's like certain key phrases that can tell me maybe you've got some certain fears, or you're overly concerned with
Mhm.
someone, or this and that. And so taking those little phrases and key words that I might hear, I could make a blend for you. And
Yeah. And
when
that
you
kind of
take
blends in with your yoga background too, because we're taught to see our students or our clients and see what they're wearing and how
Mhm.
they're gesturing and things
Yep.
like that. That's really interesting.
Yep.
Mhm.
So when you take this blend, it basically cancels out the frequency. So it helps you. It helps you to feel more calm, or gets rid of your anxiety or whatever it is that you're going through. So they're really interesting. And so far, um, one person didn't really notice a difference, but everybody else that I have made them for has said
Mhm.
very good things about them. So,
Wow. What's one of
and
your favorite essences that you find helpful? Do you have you found one yet? That's like
um,
a more
well,
current one?
there is a blend that probably, if anyone is familiar with it, it would be Rescue Remedy. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it's a blend. It helps with like trauma and fear and anxiety and such. And what's cool about these are safe for babies, for pets. It doesn't interfere with any medications. If you accidentally took the whole bottle, you'd still be okay. So,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
it's a liquid. So you just take like 4 drops per day, or 4 drops 4 times a day, and you take it for like 2 to 3 weeks, and then you can just discard it. And it's really interesting. So
Mhm.
that's one thing. Another one is pH testing, and I talked about that a little bit. So that tells me how upper digestion and lower digestion are working. And what's interesting with that is there are like 5 different patterns that a person can have.
Hmm.
Um, One would be optimal. You want there's different pHs too, and I don't do the blood and all that. I just do the urine and the saliva. But optimal would be 6.4, and that's where your digestion, they're both working together at the same speed. Everything's going well. Your body's going to function the best.
Mhm.
And then you could be like too alkaline, you could be too acidic, you could have split patterns. One's running faster than the other. And that basically, whatever your pH numbers are, it tells me whether you're um, digesting and absorbing your nutrition and minerals, or if you're absorbing toxins instead, because maybe you have really slow digestion, and it's not, you don't go every day, things like that. You can run into different issues. And the very last pattern, which is pattern 5, is also known as the stress pattern, and that's where you're double acidic. And you don't really want to be in that pattern, because you could end up, it could lead to heart issues and things like that, because it puts a lot of inflammation in your body. um,
Mhm.
Causes a lot of issues. You don't really want to be there.
Well,
Malnourishment, because your digestion would be going so fast, you're not absorbing anything.
yeah. Well, I was wondering too, with pH, does that stay steady throughout a whole day or does that change? Is it like it
It,
hits a pattern and it just goes?
well, that's interesting. You don't really want to test somebody when they first wake up in the morning. So yeah, it can change. And the best time, and what I tell everyone, is 2 hours after you eat,
Okay.
and 30 minutes of nothing in your mouth. So whether you had a drink of water, a mint, piece of gum, you have to wait 30 minutes, and 2 hours
Yeah.
after you eat. So
So, I knew a girl once that she only had a bowel movement once a month if she was lucky,
oh my gosh.
and her doctor told her it was normal for her.
Oh
What
my
would
gosh.
like, just hearing that, what do you go like, "Boy, her pH must have," or whatever? Like, what do you start thinking about?
Oh, that's terrible. um, well, she's probably severely dehydrated. Um,
Okay.
she
Yeah,
would,
just hypothetical, yes.
yeah, she would
Uh-huh.
have hard stools probably. Oh man, probably not eating enough fiber. She her diet would definitely need improvement. I'm sure she probably wasn't eating vegetables and fruits and,
Yeah,
whole
I don't
foods.
know. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, that was the drastic one. This was years ago, but anyway, yeah. Okay, so from pH, where do you go?
All right. So then I also offer, like a weight loss thing. And that kind of goes again with emotional health, because a lot of times, if someone has a yo-yo diet, they lose weight, they gain weight, they can't keep the weight off. A lot of times that's an emotional issue.
Okay.
We have things, and like I said before, until you learn to release that kind of stuff, it's just going to be deep rooted and cause issues, because it can cause you to eat poorly, or comfort foods, different things like that to try to make up for it. Even certain cravings that a person has
Mhm.
is interesting and can be emotional.
Yeah, and here I wanted to show your page where you have all of your packages here that you're talking about too,
Mhm.
and all the
Yeah, that's like a quick step
ideas.
to get there, and then if you scroll
Yeah.
further down, it shows you more itemized, like what is in each package. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I just wanted to show that as you're talking about those items too. So
Mhm.
on Kimmy's webpage. Awesome. All
um,
right.
so another thing is emotion code, which can also help, which I
I
think
was
is very,
curious about that one. That
very
has a
interesting. It's
mhm.
very non-invasive, pretty simple to do. You use a magnet, and I think I have it here. Hold on. Oops. Yeah. So, well, you're familiar, I believe, with MRT, muscle response
Yeah.
therapy,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and so,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
you
explain
know,
that for people listening that may not know.
so that's another way that I can triangulate with people. It's basically your muscle reaction, the response that your body has can tell me whether you might need some support in certain areas or organs in the body.
Mhm.
You know, you can do it remotely, but you can also do it in person. So if someone would have their arm extended out, and
Mhm.
I would put my two fingers lightly at their wrist area, and they would push down, or I'm sorry, I would push down and they would push up with the same force. We would first check polarity, and I could get into all that, but
Yeah. Mhm.
basically, like if there's a weak point, it's kind of mushy, their arm moves. That kind of gives me an
Yeah.
idea that they might need some support in that area. So.
Yeah, I use that a lot for myself or for clients, and
Mhm.
there's different ways to do the muscle testing.
Yeah.
My dog's chiropractor, yes, my dog has a chiropractor. He does muscle testing to find out where to adjust him.
Yes, they
So
taught us
pretty
too,
cool.
in school about how to do it for pets, so I thought it was really
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
Uh,
but, the emotion code, so this is just my little, uh, magnet,
uh-huh.
and, you can have your own emotions that are trapped in the body, as well as from generations passed
Oh
down
yeah,
to you
that's
that you're
in
not
my
even that you're not even familiar with. Um,
yeah.
so there's like a series of questions that I could ask, and doing the muscle test, with
That's
them.
very similar to theta that I
Oh,
do,
okay.
theta healing. Yeah, very similar.
Okay.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah. So basically, you take this, and I would run it down their spine,
Oh,
multiple times, and
interesting.
that helps
Yeah.
to release it. So, I mean, some people might not believe it, but we've seen
Well,
good
we are an
results.
energy body though,
Yes. Yes.
electrical body and energy body.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, well,
And
that's cool.
mind, body, spirit, it's all connected. So it all makes
Yep.
sense. Hmm.
Well, you talked about frequency. Everything is a frequency. An
Yep.
emotion is a frequency. Movement is a frequency. So it all interconnects
Yes.
out into the energy field, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
which it is. From the body and in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Well, that's acupuncture. If you want to even get into like more
Yeah.
things that might be a little
Meridians.
more relatable for people, acupuncture they talk about the grid of the
Yep.
body. That's the energy grid.
Yep.
Chiropractic is an energy medicine also with the
Yeah.
nerve.
Yep.
So, yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Oh, and then I was going to talk about iridology. So That's really fascinating because that's a whole another map on the
Yeah,
of the
I was so
body.
excited when you mentioned that because, like, I've been with natural health since, like, around the '80s and working my way through a variety of things, and iridology was very popular back then and talked about, and then it
Yeah.
kind of faded out for, I call it, like, the newer ideas that have come in, so I was excited that, you were gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah, it's really cool. There's approximately 28,000 nerve endings that are all connected, like from our spine to our eye. So
mhm,
everything that happens to our body basically is recorded in the iris, which is interesting. So
yep,
you might have a mark on there in a certain spot, and we may heal that or improve that situation, but that mark will still be there. So it's like a recording. And it's really interesting. And that's another
interesting.
thing that can be passed down, certain things generational that can show up in your eye. So it's
Yeah,
basically
hmm,
connected to, tissues and organs and glands and things throughout the body. And even your eye color can have certain potentials to have weaknesses and things in the body, different areas, and
mhm.
through reading your eye, I can kind of find some of those areas and correlate them. Like, oh, I saw a digestion spot on the face, and I saw another one on the tongue, and now I see one in the eye. So that would be a very good indicator that I need to support your digestion.
Yeah. Well, what
So
happens when people have variation in eye color? You know?
Well, that's what's interesting. There's basically three eye colors for iridology.
Mhm.
There is blue, there's brown, and then there's mixed. So
Oh, yes.
when
That's
someone has a green eye, more than likely it's a blue lymphatic eye. So
mm,
it's interesting because you'll see the pigment underneath. There's layers to the eye, and I do have some images. I think I sent
yeah,
you
you
to.
want me to bring, one of those up for
Yeah,
you?
you can bring one of those
Okay.
up because
You ready?
I
Alright.
showed some different variations of each eye when someone might think, "Oh, I thought that mine was brown, but meanwhile it's
Okay.
blue."
Okay, so do you want the colors or you have one here about what your eye can tell?
I can talk about what your eye can tell, and you can pull up any of the other ones. There's a blue lymphatic, a brown hemogenic, and a
Okay,
mixed
how's
biliary.
this one for you to begin with? Is
Okay, we
that
can
okay?
start with that. So
You
yeah,
and
this
you can see that okay?
yes, and
Okay.
yeah. So this is just to name a couple of things your eye could tell me. As it says here, foods you may crave or difficulty digesting and utilizing. That kind of stuff can show up in your iris. Um, Inherited strengths and deficiencies of certain organs, your glands or your tissues. So again, certain things could be inherited up to believe it's 4 generations, which is interesting. It can also
Mhm,
tell me
yeah.
potential nervous system
In the
imbalances.
in theta healing, because we're working in the psychic plane, we go back like, maybe 200
Oh wow,
200 lines, yeah.
that's fascinating.
Interesting though, yeah.
That's really
Basically, though, it
fascinating.
stays within the realm of where you're talking though, but
Yeah.
that's neat, in the eyes, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
And, it can point to possible potentials for all of this. Circulatory disorders, um, especially a blue lymphatic, can show me congestion or even high stress in the body. There's like little rings that go around a person's eye that can show there's a lot of stress going on. And
Okay,
it
let
can
me
show
pull up one
me,
of the colors then. How about brown? You okay with
okay,
brown? Oops, I need to get, doo-doo-doo.
but yeah, it can show me different mineral deficiencies a person might have. Moods, tell me if they have mood swings,
Okay,
how their energy levels are. And that's not even just your fatigue or
there we go. Okay,
whether
now
you're,
I get the other one up.
yeah, your energy levels, that can be not only, your day to day, how much energy you have, but your digestive energy as well.
Okay, well, let's see why. Oh, that's why.
Oh, there
Okay,
we go.
there we go. I got
So
it for you.
up there at the top, those are just 4 examples of different brown eyes.
I should
So
put mine up to the camera. I have brown eyes.
so yeah, some of them can look more orangish. Some can be very
Uh-huh.
dark. Um, But these are some common potential tendencies that happen with a brown hematogenic eye, and that has to do with blood. So an imbalance of your blood composition, you can have thickened blood just because of the color of your eye that you were born with. Another thing would be anemia and insufficiency with your circulatory system. You could have an inability to store essential minerals. You can have constriction or hardening of the lymph tissue. Liver, gallbladder, and spleen insufficiencies. Disturbances in your gastrointestinal tract, so you could have trouble with digestion and elimination. So that could have, maybe that lady that only went once a month had a brown eye.
Well, she did have brown eyes.
That's interesting. See?
Uh-oh.
Right? Okay. So it can also have glandular system disorders, with thyroid, adrenal, your pineal gland.
Now, when you look at that, are you reading like the bands? Like I see bands in the very first color there, and the bands kind of fade out on a darker eye. So those actually have meaning for you then.
Yeah. So that first one, you see how it has those like little rings around towards the outer edge. Those are like pinched together. That's stress. So this is probably a pretty high stress person. But yeah, you can keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper into the eyes. There's a lot of information that you can pull from an eye.
All right, let me see about getting another color up here. Okay. Whoops, I need to do this first. I have to remember what order to do this in to get the next one up. And there we go. Okay, and let's see, we did brown, blue. Here we go.
All right, so the blue lymphatic, and I have one of those in front of me. Yeah, so see how that third one looks a little green. Oh, you don't have to pull it up on the screen yet, sorry.
Yeah, I'm playing around here with my process.
So I'll just kind of talk about it while you're getting it up.
Go ahead. Yeah, keep going. Keep talking.
Blue's a pretty common color with a lot of people, and some of those potential tendencies that someone can have is definitely an overactive lymph system, and that means inflammation and congestion, weakness, and it's you could have an infection of the mucous membranes, dry skin a lot of times, or arthritis, or just achy muscles. And a lot of people with blue eyes have kidneys that are overstressed, adrenals and thyroid weakness, and digestive weakness.
Okay, and there you go. Oh, that's a variety of colors for blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that last one, see, if you look underneath, that's what tells you it's a blue eye. Mm-hmm. Because that front layer, that means something else. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Okay, and you gave me another color yet too?
Yeah, there's a mixed biliary.
Okay, because okay, we'll keep going as I play around getting the slides here.
Yeah, so that's basically people who would have a green eye. Not always, but it's a mixture of where it could look green. It's whatever. It's pretty much a mixture of I believe a blue eye and a brown eye. So you could be pulling in both generational from your parents had one of each, you would have stuff from both of those. Liver and gallbladder insufficiencies could be a potential tendency for a mixed eye. Pancreas weakness, a disturbance in the gastrointestinal tract, digestive issues. Digestive issues are a real common thing in a lot of people. You've got it's the second brain in the gut. We know that through yoga even. But yeah, a lot of health issues stem from the gut, to be honest. And they can also have issues with constipation and diarrhea. You can kind of go back and forth, and that again would go back to one of the samples of pH imbalances. That's one of the patterns. Blood sugar highs and lows, your gallbladder problems, all those might be present if you have a mixed biliary eye.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Okay, what are we presenting next? What do you want me to bring up? Where are you headed?
Okay. Well, I guess we can talk about the packages if you want. While you're pulling those up, I'll talk about basically the foundations of health. So those packages are what I was running. It's what are available on my site, and I'm running the special on the.
Yeah, it's hard to tell which ones they are here on my. We have so many. I had to delete a few to get up what I needed to have here.
So while you're
And
looking for those, like I said, I'll talk about the foundations of health. So there's 9 foundations of health, and they
okay, there's
sound
one there.
basic. Okay, we'll start with this then. We'll go back
Yeah.
to the foundations. So yes, emotional mending package. All right, so that's something that I offer, and some common issues from an emotional imbalance. How I was saying you could feel physical pain and physical issues. You could have stomach issues. Maybe you always feel sick or icky. Low back pain, hip pain. That can all be from emotion. Just chronic aches and pains overall, and joint pain. Inflammation and swelling.
Mm-hmm.
Again, digestive issues. That kind of goes with the stomach issues. Anxiety and depression. Those can definitely be emotional. Skin rashes or headaches, PTSD and addiction. A lot of that is something emotional that maybe you haven't dealt with or weren't aware of, even that you had. A lot
Yeah.
of it's trauma.
Mm-hmm. And
You
that's
know,
what I find with Lyme disease. It really has such a huge emotional, well, any chronic illness does that's hanging with you,
yeah,
for
yep,
more than a short time, and going into weeks and months and even years.
yeah,
There's so much emotional baggage that you build up, and I talk about that in some of my Substack articles because, like with this emotional mending. You may have some traumas that you've had before you became ill, and they may never have been resolved, and they're there, and then here comes the big hit down by Lyme disease with all of its uh, so many symptoms. There's such a spectrum to it, and it's such an intense process. Then you have that on top of those other traumas that have happened, and you start to really build a stack.
hmm
So
it's like
something like,
layers of an onion. You have so many things
yeah,
going on top. Yep.
yeah. And so something like this is quite an interesting process to look at Lyme with.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, um, that's really interesting that they call it like an emotional code because the code part is it becomes the framework for where you begin to react from or act from, even
Yeah.
because you're like set into the patterning, the code.
Yep.
Hmm. Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, you
I
go
was just
ahead.
going to say, so I offer, a couple choices if someone wants to, and I do include the Bach flower remedy with this, which is also a way to help with emotions. But, I can do emotion code on someone. I can teach them a little yoga and breath work to help with the trauma to release and let go, or even
Hmm.
chakra balancing, essential oils, things like that.
Yeah, it's like the whole spectrum of the body
Hmm.
gets involved with that, with the emotions. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let me take this one down, and they're hard to read where they are located. So I think this is our next one here.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I also offer an ionic detox foot bath. So that's kind of interesting. There is an array that sits in the water with you, and you put salt in there, and the way that it works, it has to do with molecules, and it changes the molecule. I forget exactly how it's all worded, and negative, positive, yada yada. But it basically supercharges the water. So anything that's in the whatever part of the body, the skin is in the water with that ion and the salt. That's where the toxins are going to be pulled out of. So it
Mhm.
basically goes into the body, that molecule, and pulls out anything that's negative, which could be like free radicals, dead cells, toxins, things like that, and it neutralizes them, pulling them through the skin and into the water. So it'll change colors. A lot of times it's orange for everyone, but then it varies. It can have like kind of almost blobby red
Mm.
particles in it. It can have like white foam stuff in it. And, these are all different meanings, but it can be like lymph congestion,
Mhm.
fungus, it sounds gross, but it's
Yeah,
pulling the
well,
toxins
that's
out.
all part of the Lyme spectrum, though. Now, if somebody comes to you with an illness that has a lot of spectrums and they are interested in something like an ionic foot bath, is there like, do you have to titrate into it like a little bit at first, or how would you process something like that?
No, it's real nice. It's calming and relaxing. I do it with warm water. It just takes 10 minutes. You can just sit there, kind of read a book if you want and hang out. Yeah, it does its thing within 10 minutes. So it doesn't take too long. You could technically do it longer, but just for now, I'm offering it for 10 minutes for people.
Mhm.
But you can do it multiple times a week. 2 to 3 times a week would be excellent.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I highly recommend you drink water before and after, just to help
Yeah.
to pull those toxins out, to
That's
let them go.
that's a
Um,
good way to get your 10 minutes of meditation in,
right, right.
everybody that I talk about.
But it's great because it strengthens your immune system. It can give you like a little bit of energy and reduce inflammation. If you have a headache or something, and you want to come do a detox, it might help to, or if even allergies, if someone suffers from allergies, that would
Mhm.
be something beneficial from them. So,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of toxins in our daily lives, things you might not even
Oh,
think
for
about,
sure.
like cleaning
Mhm.
products, just
Environment, just with,
air.
everything from air to electromagnetic smog,
Yep, yep.
yeah. Mhm.
Personal care products, if you're using the synthetic fragrances and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure you've moved a away from a lot of that, though, once you
Yes,
got into your, training with this, and,
yes, yes.
that's a whole different topic of itself, but it's an interesting one too. Yeah,
For sure, for sure.
yeah.
All right, so
Oh,
this is the all-inclusive wellness package, and this has everything except for the foot detox involved in it. So I start off with the intake form with every person before I do anything, and you do have to look at the Bristol stool chart before you
oh,
fill it
yeah, we have
in.
to bring that up. You want me to bring that up
Or
then?
you can bring that up.
Okay, we needed to show this to that girl I talked about and tell her, "Well, when you actually find yourself going, what does it look like?" All right,
Yes,
I have to play around here because we have so many files down here, so go
that's
ahead, keep
okay.
talking, and I'll find it.
But I'll talk again about the package that was just up. So, oh, never mind. It's
There
up.
we go.
All right. So you can have several
I
different types,
I
and what
never
you,
they used to say you wanna be a 10 if you're a woman. I wanna be a 4. I wanna be
right.
a
So
4.
he's the cool dude. That's where you want to be. Um,
Yeah.
and I put little notes under there. So if you're looking at the screen now and you're like, oh, well, mine looks like a type 5. Well, guess what? You're probably lacking some fiber. So you might
Oh,
want
okay.
to add some fiber
Genetic.
to your diet. But yeah, this correlates with the pH testing. How I can ask this up front, have them fill out the intake form. I gather all the information before I start anything.
Mhm.
And then next, I get the photos of everyone's eyes. And you don't have to give me everything. Even if I triangulate 3 different things, I don't need all of it. The more I
Now
have, the
explain,
more.
triangulate. You've used that term a couple times, like, how
Okay.
what is that, about when you
So that's
triangulate?
that's where I gave the example of, so let's say someone had the lines in the forehead. That gives me an idea that they might have some digestive need digestive support. They might have a crack in the middle of their tongue. That is also going to tell me they might need some digestive support.
Mhm.
And looking at their pH balance, for example. Say they're the stress pattern, they definitely need some support there too. So that's 3 things that all pointed to the same thing. That's
Okay,
true.
so you're taking 3 elements of
Yeah,
a
3 different
person.
areas
Okay,
told me the same signs, basically.
I
So
see. Okay.
that's how I would say, okay, well, I think they definitely need some support here, and then I could keep looking. So I don't
Mhm.
have to have all those photos, but the more that I have, the better. The more I can. say, yes, definitely for sure, this is
Yeah.
what's happening in your body kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody was a type 1 stool,
Um,
what would you say about that?
that's where I can tell they're not drinking enough water. Um, probably aren't eating a very good diet. They might eat junk food.
Mhm.
Probably lacking nutrition in general, big time. They may not even exercise. You know, I, like I said, I'd have to look at the intake form
Yeah.
to kind of gather all the information, but that those are just a few things that come to mind. Um,
Mhm.
Diet is the biggest, diet and water.
Okay. All right.
Maybe they're a soda drinker. All they drink is soda and sugar. You know what I mean? Like they never have anything water related.
Okay. So then they end up with what little pieces, I guess you could say then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to remove this one. Okay, well, how are we doing with time? Where are we? How are we doing? We have a little bit here. Okay, so what else would you like me to bring up? Did I?
Um,
We still have some more packages.
yeah.
Here's one here. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, the digestive balancing package. So that's a nice one if you don't want to spend all your money, the 250 for the all inclusive. Like I said, a lot of people need help in their digestion.
Yeah.
Need support
Mhm.
there. So this would be a nice place to start. I Like I said, I triangulate everything. I do the MRT, the pH testing. I give them a nutrition plan based off of all this information that I find, uh, and some support. So maybe they could benefit. So let's say someone was missing a gallbladder and they have digestive issues. Well, you need bile salts to help with breaking down food and hydrochloric acid. So
Mhm.
they're probably not able to do that because they're missing a gallbladder. So I would recommend, as part of their digestive support plan, is I have a good supplement it's betaine hydrochloric acid with the bile salts in it. So it's one thing
Mhm.
instead of having to take two different things, and then that can help. They take one of those each time they eat, and it's a
Yeah.
food enzyme basically. So
But I
helps
really
them.
love that you have the muscle testing on this because I had a ton of digestive things when I had Lyme.
Yeah,
I actually couldn't eat anything without getting sick.
yeah.
I mean anything. Okay, I could do water.
Aw,
So, um, vegetables were like a killer for me. If
yeah.
I ate any vegetables, it would just would,
A hard time
the
digesting
pain
them.
would be so intense from them.
Yeah.
So I ended up going into mostly carnivore at that point that I could
Hmm.
handle the protein that way.
Was it even cooked vegetables that did that to you?
Yeah, for and any
Wow.
mostly, yeah, I just got down to being able to do meat, and some of it still I got sick on, but, I could maintain with that.
Hmm.
So, what I like about what you have on here is, the muscle testing, though. That's one of my real, basic roots for me,
Yeah.
even now that I'm, recovered and everything, because I was put on a whole lot of things. I
Yeah.
did a lot of IVs for Lyme disease too, and nothing ever got my gut. I mean, I was on a lot of the probiotics and blah 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 blah. So
Hmm.
after I really learned about muscle testing and how to implement it for myself, I started to muscle test all the things about my gut,
Yeah.
and that was very eye opening. And I'm like, oh, this is quackery. I'm
Right.
doing it to myself. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm going to do it because, in Lyme, you get pretty desperate.
Hmm.
You get your back against the wall because there's so many things that are just not shifting you out of that illness space. So I
Yeah.
said, well, my body's telling me this, and if I want to, and I'm getting connected back to the truth of my body and its wisdom, I'm going to do this. So I have all these supplements, closet full, and I'd say this one, that one, well, I began to find out that my body didn't want the amount of substances that I was being told to take.
Yeah.
And if my did muscle test positive, it was a different amount.
Yeah,
So that
that's
was
interesting.
very eye-opening to me about the things that were specific for my gut, and that's why I love that you have that on there. So when you're working with your clients, you're just not here's
Yeah.
this and this supplement and that supplement. You're
And
like
I
seeing if it's actually appropriate in their energetic body, you
Yep.
know.
And
And
I
to
think
me,
that's what a
that's
lot
what
of
you
people
do.
I think that's what a lot of people think too about someone like me is, "Oh, they're just gonna throw supplements at me," but that's not the case.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
what I or my main goal is to get all your nutrition from your food. So my biggest thing is your
Yeah.
diet and what you're eating. And if
Mhm.
you can't get enough of it through your food, then I will start adding on some supplements and things like that. And I even
Yeah.
try to do it temporarily. I don't want someone to think they have to take it forever. Yeah.
Yeah, that and I love that because I've been down that route. You know, when you're in Lyme, you've been up and down and in and out, and you just get tired of people saying, "Hey, try this or do that," or
Yeah.
you really do. You get burned out,
Yes.
and that's one thing that I get a little dismayed about with this health revolution we're having now in the United States. You know that people's eyes are being awakened that our health isn't where it should be, with
Yeah.
from doctors and from the foods and what the nutrition is. And but everybody's still pill minded and they want to go for the bottle and the supplement or the
Mhm.
oils or the whatever's, when I have found through my own process, you want to move away from those as much as you can.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yep.
Because your body is a self serving machine. If you give it the things that it really needs to have optimal health, all those other things become more minimal
Yep.
instead of your first grab. Because I say, what's the difference between grabbing a bottle of supplements and grabbing a bottle of medicine? And you know what I mean? Other
Yeah.
than that, medicine is more it potentially potent and can be harmful. They're
Yeah.
helpful too, but they can
Mhm.
have side effects. And supplements are considered safe, but you don't realize that when uh, you're taking something that your body makes, you're teaching it not to make it.
Yeah. And especially if it's synthetic, because a lot of people will
Yeah.
buy vitamins from Walmart or something, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
they're garbage.
My mother, who won't listen to me.
Mine too. I know. They're stubborn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you bring that up though, because, literally just last night, one of my clients that I had worked on contacted me, and because they just came back, their son is in England right now for school for like a year, I believe, and they were over there for, I don't know, maybe a week or something. And now this guy suffers from gout, arthritis,
Wow.
a lot of things. He has a terrible time sleeping, so he ends up doing a lot of shots basically every night of alcohol, and he's
Wow.
taken sleeping pills for a number of years. There's a lot of things that I've been working on with him to, try to cut those back or eliminate, and diet and such was a big part of it, and a couple supplements. So anyway, long story short, I was contacted by him and his wife last night, and they said that we just wanted to let you know that we were eating over there, and he didn't have to take his medication not one single time. He didn't have any pain. His arthritis didn't bother him. He was able to sleep. And so they were like, that really drills it in that, working with you, we're so glad we worked with you before we went over there. But now that just goes to show that it's definitely your diet has a lot to do with it. And so she said it helped to give her husband more hope to not give up. So I thought that was
Oh,
really
that's
cool.
good.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then that even ties in yoga, again, my love and why I feel it's such an important part to recovery on all levels.
Yeah.
And you, with your yoga background, get to supplement that other space because what I find with my Lyme clients is that you no longer want to be connected to your body.
Yeah.
It's now your enemy
Yep.
and it has betrayed you. And when you
Yes.
have any other health issues too, to me, it's very similar.
Yeah.
you know, and you need to learn how to get connected back to it and actually have a good relationship with the body again and learn to trust it.
Yep.
And
Learn to listen to your body.
yeah, so that is also another key point there. So that's just awesome.
I love the
Okay,
phrase, if we listen to our body when it whispers, we don't have to hear it scream. That
that's
was
right.
always a good line, I thought.
Yeah, for, for sure. Yeah, and it's hard to get started on that, getting connected back to your body. That's why it is
Mhm.
easy to grab something because you get to stay numb and disassociated from it.
Yeah.
You know, uh, but getting connected back to it in the way you do your processes too, it leads a person to their health freedom.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, this seems like a package here. Did I miss this one?
Nope, this is probably the last one, I think. So, yeah, weight
Oh,
release
okay.
package. So
We did
this
that one. Wait, you want me to
yeah,
put that
no,
up?
we did. We did. I was
Okay.
thinking that oh, no, 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 no. Weight release.
Oh, I just removed it. Too late.
Sorry, that's okay. So weight
All
release.
right.
This is good for someone who is like the yo-yo diet thing that I brought up before.
Mhm.
Oh, I've tried everything and nothing works. Da, 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 da. Well, maybe let's try this. We'll talk about how your diet is, what you're currently doing, how you're eating, if you're, staying hydrated, things like that. And I come up with basically a 30-day meal plan. Maybe they should I might recommend they eat an anti-inflammatory diet. They don't have to
Mhm.
cut out meat. A lot of people think, oh no, I can't eat meat. No, 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 you can eat meat, just the right kinds of meat. You want to eat organic, grass-fed, hormone-free, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, your fish, make sure it's
But see, that's another good point that I like about that too, because there's so much mythology about vegetarian and vegan.
mhm,
Because I was vegan for 13 years, and before I had gotten ill,
yeah,
and as I went along to recovery, um, those are really not the best way to eat.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it, they aren't,
especially
and there's a whole lot more that goes with it too. But anyway, they're
especially
not. They're
women with
not.
menstruation and stuff, and you need
Yeah,
iron.
yeah. You don't want to be Xing out the meat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fish is a big one.
Oh, fish is real important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you need those omega-3s. That's great for your brain and skin and all kinds of good stuff, but you wanna make sure you get the right kind because if you get farm raised, it's full of toxins and parasites.
yeah,
So you wanna
yeah,
get the wild caught, and, if you don't know, you don't know, and what's interesting is I go to the grocery store, and 97% of the time, it's all farm raised, and I won't buy
yeah,
it, you
yeah.
know? So,
Well, yeah, and speaking about fish too, people forget that if you are inflamed in your body, your brain is inflamed, and
yes.
the fish helps take that out of the brain as you take it out of the body too.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yep.
of course, mercury load is always an important consideration in any of the fish. So, what do you recommend in that area?
Um, I s I recommend salmon. Salmon's a good one, because it even if it would have any mercury, it's a real, real low level. Um, I think mackerel is a high one. So,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
I always think of it as smaller fish too. You
yeah,
know. Yeah. So,
yeah.
um, but
Or
yeah, you
there's
want to be consider that part too for anybody that's
yeah.
uh,
I had a lady who did this package with me, and she's like, "Ooh, I hate fish." So I was like, "Well, why don't you?" I said, "You like chicken?" She loves eating chicken. I was like, "Why don't you try halibut? Because it's very textured
ah,
like chicken." So
mhm.
yeah, so she did try some of that, and I think she liked it. I didn't hear her complain. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
Well,
so
that's
so I also give everyone a movement plan too with this package because maybe depending on your age, for example, she was of retirement age, already been through menopause, so light weights. You don't have to have real heavy ones, but you want to do that to help so you don't develop osteoporosis and things like that. So
mhm.
depending on their age and if they're capable of doing certain exercises, I will come up with a movement plan for them as well. And since it's emotional, there's a lot of yoga involved too. I give them some movements for yoga that they can do,
Mhm.
even if it's just to start their day for 15 minutes.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really important. Okay,
I think that's all for
Yeah, that's
the
I'm looking through
packages.
it. Yeah.
So,
And, what is this? There we go. Oh, you've
okay.
got a special treat for everybody. Perfect.
So right now until January 26th, I am offering 15% off of any of those packages with the code New Year 15. So you can do that right from my website. As soon as you click on one of those packages, it does bring up the intake form. And I do highly recommend that you go look at the Bristol stool chart. Oops, sorry. That's my
Okay.
alarm. You do. I recommend you look at the Bristol stool chart before you do the intake form because you will need to know which number looks like your elimination before you fill
Okay.
that
Would
out.
you have that on your website too?
I do.
The
Yeah, there's a link right to it
Okay.
from the website. Yeah, it'll bring it up. So yeah,
Well,
so basically I work on the foundations of health with people. It sounds real simple and basic, but air, make sure you're breathing properly. You want quality air. So sometimes
yoga again,
yeah,
right?
you might need an air filter in your house or just get
Mhm.
outside if it's nice outside and get some fresh air. Water consumption, um, aiming to get half of your body weight in ounces. Your entire body, every system of your body needs water. So you want to make sure you have an adequate amount of it because if not, you become dehydrated and it causes all kinds of health issues. Your food is very important. You want to eat nutrient dense foods, true food, not anything that's been prepackaged is, it's not nutritional. It's not good for you. It's going to have synthetic chemical crap in it, you
Okay,
know.
so you mean I have to cook?
Yes.
I love to cook, so that's no problem. But
Right.
I know other people don't. So what do you do with those that don't want to cook, or maybe they're not familiar with cooking in this day and age? That it's easy to grab and go.
Right. Well, that's you bring up something good because I'm slowly trying to continue to add recipes to my site where eventually I will have like a whole slew of things that people can choose from. And I try to make everything as healthy as I possibly can and not take a million hours to do so. So I really enjoy something that's quick and easy and very nutritious because I'm busy. I like to cook, but when I have time, and I hardly ever have time. So,
Oh,
or
really? Oh, well, that's one thing that I do. I've been that way my whole life. But here's some interesting things, right?
yes. So,
Oh,
I
this
try
one,
to,
I know where you got the bread there. This is a
yes,
joke between me and Kimmy because we had lunch at Panera and she bought the bread. Oh,
yes,
wow, this is lunchtime here, isn't it? Oh, you gave me the brownie bowls for Christmas.
yeah. So, I
Oh,
mean, I
those
try to
were
put sweet
really
treats.
good.
A lot of people think, oh no, I can't have sweets. Well, look, I have a donut on there, and it's all made with
Yeah.
plants.
Oh, the
So,
carrot cake energy balls. I think you put those in, didn't you, for Christmas? You
yeah,
gave
those
me
are
cookies?
something that's a quick, easy grab and go breakfast. You make them on a Sunday or your day off, whatever, and then you can have
Yeah.
them throughout the week.
And
So
I think you did the no, did you do strawberry or raspberry little doodads? I forget.
I can't
I think
remember.
yeah, it was a berry, it was red something, but it was good. But, oh, wow. Of course, I'm picking out all the, sweet things, huh?
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so you do have a vegan thing. What is in here for the, what are that, the little meatballs?
Those I think I made out of tofu. I've been playing
Oh,
around a
wow,
lot with
interesting.
tofu. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've learned how to make it into ground meat, which is really interesting.
Yeah, okay,
And you
loaded
can,
potatoes with dill sauce.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Nice. Look
So
at that.
I personally don't eat dairy because I get migraine headaches from it. So,
Yeah, I'm
gotten
allergic to
yeah,
dairy
and a
and
lot of people
eggs,
are
so
in have an intolerance, so, it's kinda good to learn different ways, and it's a lot of times made with cashews or different seeds and lemon juice and stuff like that, so it's all
uh-huh.
still good for you,
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
ingredients.
you get, creative when you need to, and there's nothing wrong with there's always a way around it, you
Yeah,
know? Oh, look at
mhm.
this, wild rice with kale.
That's
Awesome.
really good. It has, raisins in it too, it sounds weird, but it's really good.
It
And
looks good.
a lot of times I would make overnight oats. I'll take those if I'm gonna be working all day or something. I'll have that for lunch.
Uh-huh.
It's good, real filling. Yeah.
That is
You can
that is great. Alright, I'm gonna take this off.
All right. So
Glad to
another one
hear
of the
that.
foundations would be
Yeah.
sunlight. It's good to get, and
Oh,
you know,
that's my message. We haven't talked about that on the Lyme channel very much, but we'll get to that. But sunlight, that's me. Kimmy's
yeah.
been, I've kind of knocked it into her head.
I tend to stay out of the sun, but especially in the summer, I do like
You
to
want
go
to know
walk
what
in the
Kimmy told
mornings.
me when I told her about sun? This was a few years ago. I said, "You need to get out in the sun." And she said, "Oh, well, no, what you tell me? It's like, I can't stand the sunlight."
I melt.
Yeah. They're
I
like,
get too hot. I'm a hot body.
outside,
But
outside.
no,
Yeah.
I like to go out when it's still cool and I'll get out in the sun. So it's good to get out for at least 15 minutes, especially morning sun's real good for you. So that's when I'll go and do my
Yeah.
gardening,
And
picking
talking
weeds.
about the eye too, because,
Mhm.
that's what I learned in my recovery from Lyme, is that when you're out, you get rid of the glasses, the contacts, the sunglasses. Sunglasses are evil,
Yeah.
okay, unless you really need them for driving, but when you're out in just the yard, take the glasses off. Sun in the eye, what did you talk about with the iris and all the
Yep.
things connected to the eye and the light in the eye right to the brain? It's really huge in, coding you or for the melatonin, serotonin,
Yeah.
and a lot of other things that your body needs. That's the clock,
Yep.
and your whole immune system is built around that too.
Circadian rhythm. A lot of
Yep.
people who have trouble with sleep, which is another one of the
Yeah.
foundations of health, rest. You want to get 8 hours of sound sleep a night. And sometimes people just don't get that. Their mind is racing, they've got other issues going on. That's another interesting thing with traditional Chinese medicine is the organ clock. So different times that you would wake up um,
Mhm.
could mean, that's basically when your organs are detoxing and things like that. And
Mhm.
you
Okay.
know, I forget what time the liver is, between 2 and 3 maybe. Don't quote me on that, but,
Yeah.
if you say you woke up then, that would be, like, when your liver is detoxing, and, it's interesting because liver your organs are associated with different emotions, and that one happens to be anger, so, you
Mm.
might have frustration and anger that you're holding on to, and it's overriding your liver.
And there you
So
go back to the emotion code
yeah.
again.
So then I would look, triangulate and look other areas. Okay, well,
Yeah.
do they have liver signs? And you might need like your liver cleanse. And
Mhm.
someone who's like very toxic, that might have a lot of stagnation there. I might want to start with like a tea, like a dandelion tea. That would be a gentle detox.
Oh,
And
yeah.
once their foundations are more in line, then we could do something a little more intense that would be like a 2-week cleanse with different supplements and herbs and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been terrific, Kimmy. A lot of really great information. And so we're going to wrap up. So, what would your parting words be? We have your package. I'll put that back up again here for your special. And
Well, I
um,
did want to mention a little bit. I had some things to talk about with energy exhaustion because I was going to tie that into Lyme. So I'll just kind of go through it real quick. Like a lot of times we don't understand why we're so tired, but it could be, like a lot of the things we're lacking the health foundation, stuff like that, skipping breakfast, um, maybe relying on stimulants. Maybe we drink too much coffee or alcohol throughout the day. Even a cluttered workspace, stuff like that, can cause energy and exhaustion. And just the foods that we eat. So, say you have sugar cravings, or you eat a lot of sugar or carbs that turn to sugar, that can cause imbalances and cause some fatigue. And so when you're lacking that energy, your body isn't running optimally. And tying it in again with like pH balance and stuff like that is where I would triangulate. But if your digestion isn't working properly due to all of this kind of stuff, then sometimes that's a breeding ground for bacteria and bacteria overgrowth and
mhm.
fungus, candida, things like that. And that's where you can get parasites, and Lyme happens to be one of those parasites.
Yeah.
So
In all the co-infections. Yeah, because if you
mhm,
don't have energy, number one, your immune system has nothing to be powered by. And
exactly,
then you
yeah.
get into other things about mitochondria and all that, which is not part of our talk here today. But yeah, if you don't have the energy to heal, it's way harder to heal.
Yeah, yeah. And do we have time for any like questions for you, or do we have to wrap it up?
Let's see. Well, go ahead and ask your questions. We'll
Well,
go just a little bit.
so I just wanted to mention, like I know what I know about Lyme is like spirochetes. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Um,
Spirochete. Spirochete.
spirochete, yes.
Yeah.
So they do what's called blebbing. They shed their outer layer, and it kind of like tricks the immune system, and
Yeah,
they
they take several different phases, and that's one of the drawbacks to antibiotics, because when you have it that or suspect Lyme from tick bite or even not a tick bite, when you start treatment is very tricky. Too soon is not good, too late is not good, and then you
yeah,
can push deeper into the tissues with the
exactly.
antibiotic, and
Yeah.
it changes form, and then it can lie dormant for a long time before
Hmm.
it erupts, and then you have, the different forms of it, and it can just be it's like a little morphing organism at
Yeah.
times, you know.
And then it doesn't it also kind of screw up the tests that are available because those are based off of antibodies. And when your immune system isn't properly functioning, you're not going to produce the antibodies. So it makes it hard to get a diagnosis of it.
Yeah, the tests are just I mean, they've improved since I've been into the medical side of it, you know. Um, th there's a variety of them, but they're all flawed in some way.
Hmm.
You know, to a degree, it's hard to tell. And back when I had Lyme, because I've been recovered now for 7 years, it used to, that those of us in the Lyme community would say if you have one band, you have Lyme.
Yeah.
Okay, because they have it for 5 bands, and then that would be considered a Lyme test, and the PCRs didn't work either. They were not useful, and we kind of understand that now more after COVID as to why and how they calibrate them up or down, and how they miss different particles of the organisms. So uh, as far as the testing goes, yeah, it can be flawed. And like I say,
Yeah.
there's new ones that I'm not as familiar with on the medical side now, because that keeps changing, which is good. You know, they keep working on different forms of testing with it. So to me, Lyme is still a crapshoot, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, because you can get it without even having a tick bite.
Yeah.
And
That's what I was going to ask if you even had a tick bite because I've
no,
heard you
I
can get
never.
it.
No, it's one of the ones that never did, and it's a high amount of people that don't have tick bites,
Yeah.
or the rashes, and then, and then it's such a devastating illness, and, there are still doctors that are not on board with it
Hmm.
and say, like, that's, you don't it doesn't exist,
Yep.
yeah, it's just, really ridiculous, but I had a client, and she used to do a lot of yard work, and she came in one time. She says, "Oh, every year," because she was rather new, I'd say, not real new. I had her maybe about half a year, and she said, "Yeah, when I do the yard work at this time of year, I get all these little spider bites." Well, of course, I went, yeah.
Right.
I'm saying to myself, I bet those weren't spiders, you know? And so she was describing it to me, and I said, I don't think those were spiders. You know,
Oh
I think
no.
you're getting bit by ticks, you know? So I didn't want to panic her, because I wasn't going to diagnose her for sure, you know? So I said, oh, just look at it next time and see. So then she comes in the next week. She has this rash all up here, and she had the bite on the back here.
Oh,
And she goes, I don't know what this is. And I said, well, have you gone to your doctor yet? Blah, blah, blah. So she ended up going and all that. And she did the Lyme test, because they weren't even going to test her for Lyme.
wow.
So they did test her. And here she comes back with, she went to a natural doctor, showed him the test, and he said, that's the worst Lyme test I have ever seen. I mean, she had, she
Wow.
loaded it with Lyme. So I worked with her, and we, because she's very sensitive to all sorts of medications and things like that. So we worked our way through with muscle testing and doing yoga and all the mindfulness to help her, get through her treatments and all that. And she did recover. She
Nice.
recovered rather quickly. And I told her, I said, I'm like really upset with you. It took me like, 6 years at the time.
Wow.
I said, and you do it in like about 5 months. I said, that's just not fair,
She had a great instructor.
Well, it just yes, of course, but it shows you the difference of when you get out of, like you're working the emotion code, you're getting
Mhm.
out of the place where you're actually fighting against your recovery because, especially in Lyme, because your body does pain, it does all kind of crazy things. You can get double vision, you get headaches, you can even get electrical shocks.
Yeah. It
In
mimics
your
all
body.
kinds of things, so yeah.
Yeah, and they're all like every day is a new spectrum when you're in the chronic phase. And
Wow.
so you don't know what to expect.
Yeah,
So you really have to learn how to um, not be traumatized by your body, emotionally traumatized. And that's a very hard space because you can't get away from it.
right.
So that's kind of, I got off, we went around in a circle there a little bit,
Yeah,
but that's some of the stuff about Lyme. But when you offer services like that help a person, because again, they're just very clear, simple processes of relating back to the body. And that could be a huge start for someone,
right.
to regain their wellness again.
Was your diagnosis hard to get?
Everything for me came back inconclusive. I did every test under the sun. Okay. I did, what is it? The ELISA test. I did the,
Yeah,
oh
there's
gosh,
2
this has
of
been a
'em.
while. Yeah. Oh, there was the test. It was the brand new one. It was the hot shot test at the time. Gosh, I forget the name of it. And that one came back inconclusive.
Western blot
Um,
test, maybe.
Pardon me? Yeah, the
Like
Western
Western blot,
blot, that
yeah.
was that didn't come back for anything. I did all the gut things for yeast and all that. They couldn't diagnose anything. Everything kept coming back like as, a zero. And I'm there like, well, what's the
Well,
deal here?
they taught us in school that, a lot of times someone who's the sickest with Lyme, it doesn't even show up because of
Yeah.
the antibody tests, and they won't change it, and it's frustrating because they're basically making money on the test, and then the insurance company, the medical insurance won't cover it because you don't have a diagnosis, and then you got to pay out of pocket, and it's just a big
Yeah,
mess.
that was me out of pocket,
Mhm.
because back then I think that's changed a little bit now. Don't quote me on that, but you could not get in a lot of insurance coverage for Lyme at all. In fact, I don't even know if a code existed for it back then because I remember everybody was having such a hard time, and I just did. I wasn't even in the category, so I ignored it,
Uh,
for it. So yeah, and you can get Lyme from broken circadian rhythm too.
oh wow.
And again, I'm going to be talking about that at some point because I haven't gotten into that recovery story of myself. But you're talking again about the eyes and getting outside light. And for Lyme, that's really important because Lyme is a mitochondrial illness.
Yeah.
And so you have to fix the mitochondria to be able to fix the rest of it. And it's almost like the spirochetes are not as important because your body can get better from it.
Right.
And do you need some outside help with some of the symptoms of Lyme? Of course you do, you
Mhm.
know, but you want to move as far into yourself again as you can, your immune system being hardy. And the doctor that I was worked with that got my recovery, he always said that Lyme is one of the worst symptomologies, and everybody can agree with that. There's been tests that have showed it's the worst outcomes,
Yeah.
but it's the easiest to fix.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
compared to some others,
Yeah.
like if you're looking at a cancer, or a heart illness, things like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I guess so, because it worked. I wasn't supposed to be well. I wasn't supposed to make it at all. I
Wow.
was at the late stage chronic Lyme with all the neurological things. So yeah. So anyway, that is in the past, and that's great. But that's why I love to help people because they feel they can't get better. They're told they can't get better,
Yeah.
and you can, you can. So
That's
and
excellent.
things like you do are part of the process too.
Yeah.
You
And you
know,
give people hope, so that's a big difference too, mindset.
Yeah, well, you do too with what you're doing, because you give them hope because you're always you again you go back to your yoga background, and
Mhm.
that is always about, okay, let's get in there. Let's see what's on the inside.
Yeah.
What do we need to help the inside with so that we can get to the physical side of the body too?
Mhm.
Because in any illness that's chronic, in my opinion, and talking specifically to Lyme, is that um, even the treatments become your enemy because of what they call the detox, right? The Herxheimer
Yeah.
reaction, Herx. And so, who enjoys having treatments that make you feel 5 times worse?
Right.
You know, it you have to have a lot of bravery and courage to go into those treatments because you know that you're going to be disabled a little bit afterwards, and you
Mhm.
don't know for how long.
Yeah.
And so, uh, that's to me why yoga and meditation are really backbones to getting better
Mhm.
because you have to face so many barriers
Yeah.
with Lyme. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's when you get back to where you are and with your holistically on the mend, you have your package. So visit Kimee and your website again, holisticallyonthemend.com or kimeemassie.com. Okay. And you can see about across the bottom of the screen there, her name, Keemassie. Okay. And I thank you, Kimee, today for coming on and explaining, what you do and these topics. I think they're very important to know and to know how to find them. You
Thank you.
know,
Thanks for having me.
you are welcome. Okay. So I am going, I don't have any outro video. So let me go over here and we are going to close out. Thank you very much. See you soon, everybody. Remember to hit like and subscribe and find me over at Rumble at Chronic Lyme Recovery and talk to you soon.